Those of you on Facebook, man, it's good to see you. What do you understand about the difference between culture and mission statement? That's one of the questions I'm going to ask today. I've got some statistics that have just come out from a study recently that is very, very interesting. And so I want to share some of those with you as we dive into it. First, my name is Mike Kahn, and I'm the CEO of Mike Kahn Coaching and Consulting. And I'm also an Exactly What to Say certified guide. And this business that I'm building, it's the second greatest work of my life so far, next to being Gina's husband and Rayleigh Jackson and Jacob's dad, and Aiden's father-in-law. And I love having the opportunity and the honor to do this. What I actually do in my business is I work with managers and leaders to strengthen culture, elevate communication, and refine processes by optimizing what's already in place to maximize their impact. I speak to audiences. I have written a book that I've published and sold several copies of, and I'm happy to share with you how you can get a copy of that as well. And then, of course, I also leverage the work from Phil Jones, Exactly What to Say, and as an Exactly What to Say certified guide. And so what I want to share with you today is a couple of ideas that are really impactful and very important in our conversation about what it looks like to identify the culture that you have in your workplace. So this is for leaders and managers. And the first question I asked is, what do you understand about the difference between culture and mission? This is my third day of going live, third day in a row of going live. The first day I was on several different platforms all at once. Yesterday I was only on Instagram all the time. And today I'm all Facebook all the time. So having a very similar conversation and bringing some more thoughtful thought to the conversation, and then some resources to it as well. So I'm going to be kind of juggling back and forth with a couple of different items to guide the conversation. Some results from the study that I was mentioning to you. Only about 24% of managers feel confident addressing poor performance. Executives overrate their communication skills by 8 to 11%. There are some things, I have some thoughts about that. For workplace communication training, miscommunication is costly and it's common. 60% say a misunderstood text caused hours of pain. Let me ask you this question. What's your experience with being misunderstood over a message that you communicated via text or via email or Slack or some sort of messaging platform? That's happened to a lot of us. Now, I don't know how painful it was for you. You know, Sheryl Crow said the first cut is the deepest. Like, I don't know if that's where it went for you, but you know, especially in 2025, where we're in lots of Zoom calls and Google Meet and Microsoft Teams and all these different ways, man, this is a really, really great time to have this conversation, because a lot of times our communication is a lot more efficient than it is effective. And so that's just part of the conversation for today. 87% said they prefer in-person conversations for some high-pressure conversations. So my question to that is, well, what's been your experience with having a high-stakes conversation remotely? That doesn't mean that it couldn't happen. It just means, what's your experience? That's a great question that I want us to think about today, because everyone's experience is a little bit different. It's not good or bad, but whenever we don't take into account their consideration, then we're for sure making it seem like their experience is irrelevant. And that's certainly, as a leader and a manager, that's certainly the farthest thing from what we would want to do. A couple of more stats. 59% of people say presenting to a large group within their organization or outside their organization causes anxiety. 46% have been physically sick before either a critical conversation or giving a critical presentation or a vital presentation. And only 23% of people feel confident asking for a raise. 75% say they would stay longer if their company trained them more in conversation. And 82% say great communicators get promoted faster than some potentially more talented peers. So what I want to bring up to you today is something that we teach within the Exactly What to Say world. It's the 4 cornerstones of conversational excellence. And what I want to share with you today is cornerstone number 2. And it's curiosity is the fuel for great conversations. And it's an interesting question because there's this fine line between being curious and being asking lots of questions because you're curious, or asking lots of questions and just kind of being a pain in the butt. Like it's not so much on your intent, but of how it comes across. And so what my hope is today is that I can demonstrate in asking a few questions, both from a leadership standpoint and as a team member, as an employee standpoint, of why it's really vital to lean into the curiosity. Curiosity is the fuel for great conversations at home and at work and in your community, both online and off. And so much of this, certainly whether it's on video or in person, it's going to have to do with your countenance, right? The way that your face is leading the witness, Your Honor, as you're saying the words that are coming out of your mouth. I say often, hey, don't forget to tell your face, no matter if it's something that's a heavy conversation or something that's kind of light and lighthearted. I actually also wrote an article that's been published on exactlywhattosay.com. If you'll send me a message, I'll gladly share the article with you. Just send me a DM and I'll gladly send it over to you. Because what we know is true is culture eats strategy for breakfast. And that's a tremendous quote that we've all heard in the past by Peter Drucker. And a lot of times we get it confused with what actually is the culture and what's actually the mission. That's like what we say we want to do. Culture is the way we do what we do and the way we allow it to be done. I wrote about it in chapter 1 of my book, Communication Culture, Volume 1. And it's also, when I do this live in person, I do it in a presentation. It's difficult for me just to say that line because in my mind and in my heart, I just hear, this is how we do it. Like, it's just like Montel just kind of jumps out at me. Now, how do you say you grew up in the 90s without saying you grew up in the 90s? There are some other context clues. But the thing I want you to consider is culture is the way we actually do what we do and the way we allow it to be done. So whenever there's something that happens and you're not sure about it, or you don't feel like you've been given enough information, now that can be kind of tricky. And so how do you handle that? So what I love for you to do is I would love to be able to put some handles on that for you today. And this is, again, it's all about the way that you're asking the conversation. It's not just about being inquisitive, it's about being curious. And so you've got to really lean into kind of what that looks like. You can simply say, well, so what do you understand about receiving incomplete information on something that you're asked to do, or receiving some information that may not have been clear to the party who you are sharing it with? Now that sounds however it sounds to you. How I would actually say it is, hey, what's your experience with someone who held you accountable to standards that maybe they didn't communicate with you, or to expectations that maybe weren't communicated to you in the first place? And as a leader of leaders, you can actually flip that question and say, and I don't enjoy bringing the question up, but it really sparks some great conversation and a lot of light bulb moments that happen whenever I say, if you've ever been a leader who had to hold someone accountable for expectations that they weren't even really clear to you, much less clear to the other person, please raise your hand. And my hand is never the only one in the room. So that just lets me know we, the people, still have a lot of work to do in both clarifying the expectations and setting them well, and then also in being able to ask questions without it feeling like I'm trying to pick a fight with you, right? Like we're not trying to pick a fight. It's a little bit different for everybody. But it's all about the way. I heard this when I was growing up quite a bit. Michael, it's not the words that you say, it's the way that you say it. And so for us, we really have to, it's really difficult to fake curiosity because it comes across in a different kind of way. So another one of the questions that I ask, and we ask it here with some Exactly What to Say role play cards. Let me ask you this, Mike. How important is it to you that you know the expectations so you can do your best to fulfill the mission on the team? And then get your bottle of water, take a drink, and then let the other person answer the question. It's one of the best pieces of experience / advice that I could give someone who's in leadership is, don't forget to leave space for them to engage, because you're asking questions. But if you're like me, you got a whole lot of stuff to say. I mean, I wrote this book. It's got 46 bite-sized chapters and 40 blind spot alerts in it. And it's written on a 6th grade reading level. And if I'm not careful, I'll try to tell you all 46 of those things. But the goal is not for me to tell you how much I know. The goal for me is legitimately to try to put some handles on some hope for you. Try to give you some tools to be able to have better conversations at work, at home, and in your community, both online and off. And so a great question is, how important is it to you that you understand the direction that we're going? Like, you understand what you're trying to achieve. How certain are you that it's been communicated to you that you know your role in this thing? Because a lot of times what's true is, especially in leadership, like, we will demand more followership than we will give other people. Leaders should be the first followers, because you can't always be the one with your name on the door, or the project lead, or the one who gets all the credit / all the blame when it doesn't go well. So a great question is, how certain are you that we're on the same page? And if the answer is, well, I mean, I don't really know. Hey, the good news, don't worry. I'm not mad at you. Don't worry. I'm not trying to fight you. Don't worry. We've got an opportunity to try to get some of that ironed out right now. Let me ask you this. Would you be open-minded to having a conversation about what that looks like? Or another way to say it, that's when you're looking for a yes or no answer. Another way to say it is, how open-minded would you be to having a conversation about this? I'm not trying to overstep the authority. I just want some clarification. That's a really good way to ask it. Something that we need to consider, we need to kind of be thinking about. It's really like a 2-question filter in my mind. And again, I wrote about it in chapter 5 of my book. And the question is, am I being curious or am I being critical? Hey, Mike, are you being curious or are you being critical? And one of the ways you know that is, instead of saying, what's wrong with that person? Okay, that's not being curious. That's for sure being critical. Or if you say, I wonder what happened. I wonder what happened in that situation. I wonder what happened in their life. I wonder what happened over there. That's a different kind of a question. But what was she thinking? That's not really being curious, even though you could kind of bend it around and say, well, but that's not what I meant to say. Okay. But it's about what you mean. However, it's more about what was presented, which is why I'll get into this another day, but that's why I fundamentally believe the most powerful 3-letter word in the English language that's not a deity is for, F-O-R. And a good question is, who are you for? Jeff Henderson wrote an amazing book about it. It's just over my shoulder right there. Who are you for? And I think an even next level question for leaders is, who knows that you're for them? Because that's how you get to curiosity, is making sure the people who report to you know that you're for them. Like, that's such a huge thing. It works in the conference room. It also works at home in the living room. And I'm going to kind of wrap up today with this, just out of curiosity, when was the last time, if you're a parent of a teenager, when was the last time you recognized them for being home at curfew or being home on time? Because if you're anything like me, it'll take a big event because a lot of times we just look at the time we told them to be home and they come home at that time and we're like, okay, great. Swipe left. They did what I asked them to do. Fantastic. There's nothing to see here, nothing to talk about here. And if we're not careful, the only time that our kids hear us speaking to them or try to have more than a one-word conversation is when we're lecturing them on the things that they didn't do the way we wanted them to do it, or whatever that is. Now, this isn't a parenting talk. I don't mean it that way. But what I do mean is, these are conversations we have with people, right? And so for me, it's important to try to do my best to lean into curiosity and see, hey, Mike, are you being curious or being critical? And to the extent it's one or the other, or sometimes both, then how can I turn up the dial on curiosity and do it in a way where the person knows I'm still valuing them? I'm not trying to make them feel crazy or feel any certain type of way. I just legit want to know, what are they thinking, or what are the expectations? And a lot of times we don't communicate that clearly. So So yes, culture is the way we do what we do and the way we allow it to be done. This is how we do it. Yeah, that's culture. Mission is what we say we'll do. It's largely customer facing, what we want people to know that we do. But no one gets ISO 9000 certified based on their mission statement. It's all about here's what we say we do, and then a litany of reports and investigation of, okay, this is how we're showing proof. This is actually, we're doing the thing that we say we do. So for us, how can you ask questions and be curious and not look like you're just being difficult? That really does come back to kind of the heart of the matter. And do you want what's best for the organization? Do you want what's best or what's best for you? Is it possible for both? Yeah, of course it is. But it's not black and white, it's gray, right? You're not on trial. You don't need a defense attorney. And you're certainly not putting someone else on trial to be the prosecution. That's not what you do. You're just simply asking, well, let me ask you this. What do you understand about the policies and procedures and the way that they read to someone who didn't write them? That could sound like you're full of smart assery. I mean, it for sure could. But it's our job to cultivate those relationships, to let them know that we're for them, and to help them feel seen and feel valued, and to know, listen, I'm just legit curious to know how we can do this and how I can do my part better. So what do you understand about the situation or the question or the issue? Let me ask you this. What's your experience in dealing with something like that? What's your experience in dealing with policies and procedures that are outdated? How important is it to you that we're all on the same page and we're moving together? How certain are you that our current process is setting you as a leader up for success and setting our team up for success? Don't worry, this isn't the last time we're going to talk about it, because it's important to me to understand what you're asking me to do, what I'm expected to do, and then what I have the honor and the opportunity to do. Would you be open-minded to a follow-up conversation, say next Monday or Tuesday? The good news is, remember, I'm for you. I'm not trying to get you. I'm for you. I think you're fantastic. I don't think you're perfect. I'm not perfect either. That's the wrong goal. Now, for you today, I don't know where all that lands with you, but I hope that there's something that's helping you become more curious at home, at work, and in your community, both online and off. Have a fantastic day.